MCA has issued draft companies rules, 2 phases. One for public comments is over on 8th October. Second, it is still open. One of the feature here, what we found is that MCA has at the same time implemented 98 section of the Act on 12th September 2013. What does it mean? If you look at the sections that are implemented here and some of that we deal day in, day out, for example, section that deals with the cash flow, the section that deals with related party transactions, the earlier parallel sections, for example, was 295, 372, etc. What is happening is some of these sections are notified. That means it is applicable with effect from 12th September 2013. Whereas maybe the other sections are not yet notified, which are some conflicting to that, because some sections which has a parallels to other sections are not yet notified. And before I move to a detailed presentation, I'll just try to deliberate this because it's very important. For example, when we go further and talk about one of the sections which is implemented, let's say March 13 account which company has prepared till September 30, 2013, and there are exemptions for preparation of cash flows. Now, what does 12 September 2013 means? Any financial year ending on after 12 September or any financial statement adopted by board post September 12, 2013, which is not clear. And our interpretation would be that it is not any financial year ending on September 12. It should be anything adopted by board. But that clarity MCA should give it. That clarity is missing here. The concept of uniform financial year, I think this is a very welcome move that Companies Bill Act has done it, because there were various financial year were being followed for various regions. Yes, it has an impact to cyclical industries, but I would believe that it will give more comparative analysis available if the uniform financial year is there. And at the same time, they have also taken care and granted limited exemptions. Yes, these exemptions has to be taken. Tribunal has to approve these exemptions, and these are two. One is if there is a holding or subsidiary of company incorporated outside India. Let's say it's a company which is in the US. Most of those US companies year end is December. So you can go to the tribunal and seek exemption from that. Similarly, there is a need to follow different financial year for consolidation of financial statement outside India. One point which I want to bring it here is, and that's again the interpretation, I would think that let's say there is a holdco which is sitting in India, and if it has a subsidiary outside India, my personal belief is that those company tribunal may not grant exemption because the holdco is sitting in India. The exemption, the reason which we could see behind this exemption is more to facilitate those companies where there is a regulatory requirement. For India, the regulatory requirement is March, not the other than March with this act, or if there is another framework where you need it. So my belief is that if there is a sub which is outside India for a holdco which is in India, I don't think tribunal is going to grant an exemption on this. One more point from a consolidation perspective here is, there is accounting standard 21 which deals 21, 23, 27 which deals with the consolidation. It allows a period shorter than your accounting year. So let's say your March 31 is a year. It allowed the subsidy to prepare up to 31st December, and if required, if there are any significant development in the last quarter, you can produce that. Otherwise, you can consolidate based on March 31, which will not be a case today. It has to be a uniform accounting year across.